read Shonda Rhimes' A Year of Yes, for example. This is like one of my first books that I was reading. And to read about a woman who couldn't prioritize herself in her career and in her orbit, to read that story from someone who is incredibly successful, but it just made it relatable. It gave me some perspective. And I was able to, when we read and we hear other people's stories, we're able to gain perspective on our own lives, because we're all, I mean, she is not me and I'm not her, but we're still humans, and she was able to do it. And if she was able to do it in her way, why could I not do it in my way? And I did. And so that was just like these very small nudges of people that I don't know, who I read about, who taught me that it was possible. And
wow.
so then,
and so just seeing that story that inspired you. It was an inspiration. She became an inspiration for you.
Oh, 100%, 100%. To tell yourself yes, because it's easy to tell other people yes, especially if you're a people pleaser, especially if you're a work addict, especially if you don't feel like you're enough, all you want to do is say yes. But when you tell yourself yes, it's terrifying, and also the best thing that's ever happened in life. It is the most wonderful thing to tell yourself yes. It's like,
I mean, I love what you're saying. You're saying tell yourself yes.
God, yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes, yes. And it's easy, and I get it. When you look at yourself in the mirror, right, you say, well, for me, I was Taylor, so-and-so's fiance, the employee of, the real estate agent, the party girl. I was the party girl. I had all these labels, and those labels made me consider other people around me, which is why I told them yes and me no. But and for me, I had to lose it. I had to feel like I lost everything. But when you remove the value from those labels, which is what happened for me, all the labels lost their value. Then all you're left with is a person who wants to do something. And the only thing to say, there's no reason for no. There's literally no reason for no. The only thing that there is yes. And then how?
Wow. So it was interesting how you said the labels, all these labels that a lot of times that we get accustomed to. So interestingly, right, when we're at a network event, the first question a lot of time people you're asked is what it is that you do. I am the realtor. I am so and so. I am the. And then being able to go from what it is you do to who are you. And so you went through this journey of finding out who you are versus getting that approval from others. And that made that yes person, that yes pleaser of saying, and it's funny, right? It's almost like we end up seeing that the other person, because we're trying to please that other person, right? That the other person has more value, or whatever it is that they're doing or they're saying or who they are has more value than us. Right? When I say us, I'm putting all of us in a space. But it's to say, I have value too, and I need to say yes to myself.
Yes. Yes. Because some of us match, like you and I match very well. But you and I match because I'm me and you're you. Yes. I'm not like, I didn't meet you and think like, all right, well, I'm going to try to start tweaking myself. We met and there wasn't really a conversation so much. Like we started with career, but it wasn't so like value proposition heavy. It was like, let's just see how we mesh. Can we talk?
Just be.
Yeah, we were just authentic. We were ourselves, and we were able to very naturally and very organically create like this very wonderful rapport. And I think that that's how it should always be. I think that, and even in business and pleasure and everything, I don't really care what you have to sell. If we don't get along, I don't want to do business with you. If you don't have that, the same like values that I have, not necessarily like in terms of spirituality or anything, but it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
are you gonna make a decision that you know is right? Or are you gonna know what's right and do what's wrong anyways because you want to take the cheap way or the easy way? Because I'm not gonna do business with someone like that, even if they have the best whatever, like I
I
don't
think
care
a
about.
lot, yeah, and I think a lot of times, just meeting a person, let's say for the first time, we don't give each other chances anymore. We make judgments. And so to be able to connect, right, without any judgment, you being who you are, I'm being who I am, or the other person being who they are, that leaves a space of listening, of being able to build that rapport. And then if it comes to be a mutual type of relationship later on, it becomes one. But I think we are in sometimes in a space where we judge each other before we even meet each other.
Yeah, yeah. It's hi, my name's Taylor, and then if you don't fill that space, there's
Mm-hmm.
just this cliffhanger of like, how will you provide value to me if you don't tell me anything after your name? And it's like, figure it out, because I have a lot of value to bring to the table, but maybe my value you'll just have to find out,
We all
because
have, exactly. We all, it's a value, exactly.
we're all
And
worthy
and
of any
we're all
everything.
worthy. We're all
Yeah.
worthy. And this is where, because of what you were mentioning, not feeling worthy, feeling less than, that you weren't enough, it led to some behaviors that you had to eventually catch on to, be aware of, and change. But how many, let's say, young girls, or any young men, young girls, or ladies who are going through this thing of, I'm not enough, therefore I need to get approval from someone else to
Yeah.
make me feel as if I'm enough, or to make me feel like I'm valued, when it really could start from, just as you mentioned, whether we met the first time or 20th time, we can have a conversation and have a good time with it. We can learn a lot from each other, but that's because we value each other and we have mutual respect for each other. And
Yes.
that's where it starts. That's how conversations should start, with mutual respect.
And yes, that's it, just mutual respect. And I feel like, especially when you're younger, when you're
Mm-hmm.
later teens, a very young adult, you are constantly, because you're still unsure about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're like a 2-year-old again. You're like, what's everybody else doing? What's on Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
What's everybody else wearing, doing, thinking? And you find yourself just making decisions because you compared yourself to other people.
The
And if
comparison.
we allow ourselves as young adults, or people as young adults, because we're past that now, but if we allow ourselves to make decisions without comparison and without concern about another person's response, or the implications of how they will react, we'll be able to be so much happier. I mean, sometimes the implications
Yeah.
are not ideal. Sometimes they're not ideal, but also we only have one life.
Yeah.
And
One life to live. Yeah.
that person also only has that life. And that person gets to make their choices, and they get to choose how they're going to react, and they get to choose how they're going to exist. And we get to choose how we're going to exist. And we both can make different choices, and we're both just as worthy and just as enough. But that doesn't mean it has to jive.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's important, because even if we go deeper into what we were saying, right? The mutual respect, the non-judgmental space, that even goes down to, like we said, parenthood, because that's where those first conversations, right, started. If
Yes.
I'm a mother, and which I am, and I'm speaking with my daughter, and I'm already judging her from every time I'm having a conversation, how can she go out into the world and not feel less than? If
She,
anything, if I have that conversation with her, it'd be, you're beautiful, you can do it, you are and you can, and versus you're not and you won't or you can't. And I think that sticks, and it shows itself in different places and different sceneries, and with different conversations.
it does. It 100% does. No doubt.
So, when now that you've mentioned about, like, your journey, of who you are and where you're heading. If you had to tell Taylor when she was 18 something, what would you tell her?